Today I am going to be looking at the NIU KQi2 Pro electric scooter. The KQi2 could be considered a budget commuter scooter. It comes in at €500. The scooter comes in grey color and white color options. The KQi2 is made by NIU, who are best known for their electric road scooters. Okay, first let's take a closer look. The handlebars consist of rubber grips, a bicycle bell and a throttle. The phone holder does not come with the scooter. That's just what I've been using when recording ride statistics. So this is the display. The display is bright in direct sunlight, so you can see it even when the sun is shining on it. The reason why it's blinking on the camera is got to do with the refresh rate of the camera. You can switch between e-save mode, which has a speed limitation of 15 km per hour, and the full speed mode, which is in Europe limited to 25 km per hour. Then you can also set a custom speed mode using the NIU app, where you can set your own speed up to 25 km per hour. And there is also a pedestrian mode, which limits the speed when you are riding near pedestrians. You can access the mode by pressing the button 5 times. And then a small foot icon will display, and then to get back to the normal mode you press the button again. You press the button twice to turn on the headlight, and that brings us to the lights on the NIU KQi2. The KQi2 has some of the best lights I've seen on a commuter scooter, especially in this price category. So it has a big rear light, and on the front it has a light running light, which is the halo around the main light, and at night you can turn on the main light and it will illuminate the paths in front of you. The advantage of the light is that it doesn't blind the oncoming riders, and it shines a big enough spotlight for you to see perfectly at night, so you won't need any additional lights on this scooter. So this is the KQi2 at night. This is the backlight, and this is the front light. Let's see. We go. So it's still shining. It goes quite far away. Okay, now I'm going back. There is a storm coming, so let's get moving with this. And from the back, the backlight is also quite strong. You can see it illuminates quite a bit. This is what the front light looks like when you are riding in total darkness. You can see pretty far ahead, and it's sufficient for riding in complete darkness without any street lights present. It's a nice bright beam that illuminates both sides of the bike trail, but still is cut off to not blind oncoming riders. The light illuminates about 27 meters ahead of the scooter. In addition to the back and front lights, it has a front reflector, it has side reflectors on both sides of the scooter, and then it has also reflectors down next to the front tire and the back tire. You can charge the scooter with the charging port over here under the rubber gasket, and then you plug it back in. When it comes to the build quality of the KQi2 scooter, it's very solidly built. I will put some videos from my disassembly of the scooter. Here, remove the cover and we get inside the deck. The cover has a gasket all around to prevent water ingress, and it's very solidly made and quite heavy. The battery compartment is made of metal, which is welded to the main construction of the scooter. Everything seems to be very solidly built. At the front, the cables are going through a rubber gasket, so there should be no danger of water getting in. And then at the back there is another rubber gasket. So there is a lip all around, so even if it rains quite a bit, the water shouldn't get in because it can't get through the lip. And the button has a rubber back, so it doesn't look like water can get through the button into the display either. The whole PCB is covered in transparent material that seals it against water. You can see that the deck is very well insulated against water ingress, and as well as the top display, so you should not have any issues riding in rain. But that's of course still not recommended, and the warranty does not cover water damage, so be careful when you take the scooter out in rain. The official water resistance is IP54. Further, when it comes to the build quality, in contrast with other scooters in this price range and even in higher price ranges, you can see that the wiring on the scooter is very minimal. The only wires you can see is on the front from the light, which goes into the stem, and then the brake wire, which goes down here into the bottom of the handlebars, and on this side the wire from the throttle that also enters the handlebars here. And all the wiring is integrated into the display, and then the wiring continues down the stem and straight into the deck, so you don't have any wires hanging around. It's a nice clean design. Okay, now let's take a look at the folding mechanism. The folding mechanism has a safety latch, so you pull it up and then you put it up, and there is additional security over here. So to take the stem down, you pull this and then the stem can be folded, and you can see the wiring integrated inside the stem, so you don't have any wires that go all over the place. And at the back the stem latches into here, and now you can lift it up. And to take it out, you just press this button and you can fold it back up. And when you fold it back up, it clicks into place, so you can let go, and then you just click the latch back into place and you have the handlebars back up. The folding mechanism down here is very nicely made and has a premium feel compared to the cheap price of the scooter. So most scooters in this price range just have a basic hook system, but here it's done in a lot nicer way in my opinion. And overall, this sort of small attention to details aspects of this scooter put it above some of the other scooters in this price range. Additionally, you can use the loop that's used to fold the handlebars to hang your grocery bags from there, or for example I use it to hang my water bottle from it on short rides. So it has additional uses to just folding down the scooter. The scooter comes with 10-inch tubeless tires, the same on the front and on the back. On the back wheel it has the motor, which is rated at 300 watts, and the max power is 600 watts. You can see that even on the back motor, NIU has paid close attention to small details, like the engraved NIU logo on the motor, and the caps are metal. The scooter comes with a front drum brake and a rear electric brake, and it also has regenerative braking, which you can set the strength of the regeneration in the NIU app to low, medium or strong, or you can turn it all the way off if you like to cruise when you let go of the throttle. The scooter comes with a 38 volt 7.8 ampere hour 365 watt hour battery. Comparing it to other similar scooters, the range is roughly similar to the 9-bot G30 LE. The stated range is 30 kilometers. From my real-world range testing, I got about 28 kilometers, and that is with a 95 kilogram rider on flat terrain with temperature around 20 degrees Celsius and minimal wind. So the range will differ greatly based on all of those factors. Here you can see some of the range tests I've done on the scooter. So you can see the total riding distance, riding time and the statistics. These are exported from the NIU app using the ride recording inside the application. So in the first ride I went 22 kilometers, and when I came back I still had 6 kilometers left. So you could possibly get 28 kilometers in total. In the second ride I gave the scooter to a friend that is lighter, and they got 28.3 kilometers with 8 kilometers still left when we arrived. There was no headwind during this time, so that probably contributed to the higher range. This was recorded on an older iPhone connected to the scooter, and it was disconnecting quite frequently, so that probably explains why the altitude is not present in the statistics. Looking at the next ride, there I got 28 kilometers riding at nearly constant speed on a straight bicycle path. And here also the altitude was not recorded. I'm not sure why, but it was also recorded on the older iPhone SE first generation, so that might have something to do with it. The first ride was recorded on my newer Samsung S10, and that had 0 disconnections from the app during the whole ride. The final ride I recorded with the newer iPhone, the iPhone SE second generation, and during that ride there were no issues with the connection to the scooter either, so my guess is if you have a really old iPhone, you might have issues maintaining the connection to the scooter. The final ride was at a bit colder temperature, around 10 degrees, and comparing to the previous ride, I got 5 kilometers less range doing the same track as in the third ride. So that can possibly show you how the temperature can affect the overall range of the scooter. So overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the range of the scooter. 28 kilometers for budget commuter scooter is a pretty good result in my opinion. The EU version of the KQi2 is limited to 25 kilometers per hour. The one advantage of this limitation is that you can maintain the top speed all the way throughout the battery depletion. So even with the battery at around 10%, you can still get 25 kilometers per hour speed from the scooter. The speed then decreases a bit more as you go under 10%, and then it eventually dies down. In the third ride, with the 2 kilometers left, that was pretty much the scooter completely depleted at that point, and it was only going about 5 kilometers per hour. Now let's take a look at the hill climbing and brake tests. Okay, so let's test the hill climbing of the NIU KQi2. This is the first hill that I'm gonna try. It's bike path that leads onto the overpass, so let's try it with a bit of a head start. Okay, so let's test it out. Slowing down a bit. Now we are getting into the steepest part of this hill. So it's going slowly, but we made it all the way up. Okay, now let's try the second hill on the other side of the overpass. This one has a sharp turn in the middle, so we will need to slow it down completely during the turn and see if we can make it all the way up. We made it all the way up. Okay, now we are at the Apollo Bridge, so let's see how fast we can make it up. Okay, so this one was not a problem. Okay, now let's move on to the brake testing of the NIU KQi2 Pro. Okay, so this is 3 meters and these are my braking attempts. You can tighten the drum brake a bit more to get better braking performance, but I prefer to have the drum brake set to more loose, so that when I press the brake lever, the electronic brake is used 80% of the time, and only when I really press down the brake, then the drum brake engages. The disadvantage of that is that it takes you slightly longer to brake fully, but in most situations you want to brake gradually if it's not an emergency situation. So in those situations I prefer to have a more gradual electronic braking and only engage the drum brake when really needed. And that's how the scooter was set up from the factory as well, so I just left it as it was out of the box without adjusting the brakes. Okay, so that was it for the brake testing, and let's get back to the rest of the review. Now let's briefly look over the features of the NIU Mobile app. To access the other settings, you press the 3 dots here and you have the vehicle name. You can check the firmware update, energy recovery. You can turn it off all the way or set it to weak, medium or strong. I prefer to have it off because then you can just cruise with the scooter once you let go of the throttle. You have a quick lock function, custom mode, you can change the speed from kilometers per hour to miles per hour, and then you have the battery information, number of charge cycles, and you can unbind the scooter. In the app you have the Me section where you have a list of your scooters and contact points and so on. And in the app here you have the indication how many kilometers you have remaining range and the battery percentage. You can lock the scooter and it shows, and when you try to move it, it sounds a small alarm and the back tire locks up a bit, so you can unlock it. And then you can also track your rides, so if you press on the go button you have the speedometer and all the other statistics, and you also have the map here. For a lot more details on the app and how to set up the scooter, you can check out my first time setup video that I will link in the video description. Okay, now let's move on to some of the issues that I had with the scooter. First, in regards to the NIU app. Overall, the app has nice features and works, but the problem is that it only works when you are online, and if you don't have an internet connection, the application does not really function at all. And this is something NIU should address, so that the app is not dependent on your data connection or on NIU servers, and you can use the application to track your rides even if you are in areas with no mobile signal, or if, for example, NIU servers are not working, you should still be able to access your ride data locally on your phone and fully use the application. So hopefully this is one area that NIU improves the app in the future. Secondly, I had some issues with my very old first generation iPhone SE, and it was disconnecting quite frequently from the scooter during my testing rides. But on my newer Samsung S10 there were no disconnections and it worked perfectly, so that might only be an issue affecting very old phones. It also worked fine when I tested it with a newer iPhone, the second generation iPhone SE. It worked fine with no disconnections from the scooter during my whole range testing ride. Now moving on to some of the hardware issues that I've seen other people report, and some of them I've also come across. So first, there was an issue with the throttle on the KQi scooters, where the error 03 occurred because of a bad connection inside the throttle. NIU told me that they have addressed this issue, and the new scooters should come with an updated throttle that doesn't have the weak wiring and should not have this throttle issue in the future. And secondly, a couple of people have also run into the issue of the scooter not turning on, and that is usually a problem with the controller. This is an issue that I also came across, and when I sent the scooter off to NIU, they looked into it and they discovered that it was an issue with the soldering of some of the components on the controller, and they told me that they have implemented new procedures and quality testing to make sure that no faulty controllers make it into the final scooter in the future. So hopefully these two hardware related issues will no longer happen in the future. And as for the software side with the app, hopefully NIU can continue improving the app as they have been doing, and they can reduce the dependence on internet connection to make the app fully functional offline as well, and perhaps include some additional features. The scooter is comfortable to ride. The 10-inch tubeless tires are very well suited to absorb any small bumps on roads or pavements, but as any other scooter without suspension, if you ride over very rough roads, it's not really suited for that. Overall, it's a comfortable scooter to ride, mostly in the city landscape. If you want to go off-roading, it's not really a scooter for that purpose, but for everyday commuting to work, shops, school or other places, it's a comfortable ride, and I can fully recommend the scooter for that. Overall, the KQi2 is a very well built scooter. It has a couple of QC issues that have been addressed by NIU, so hopefully those won't be a problem in the future. And other than that, it has good water resistance based on my disassembly videos and the build quality. There are rubber gaskets everywhere, rubber seals, and overall I'm very happy with the NIU KQi2. It's a very solid scooter. It has some nice innovative features like the halo lights, a data running light, The display auto dims when you turn on the night light. The wiring is very well integrated. You don't see any wires hanging from the stem or anywhere. Overall, the scooter is very well put together, and it's a great budget-friendly scooter for anyone who needs to commute shorter distances in the city. This was my review of the NIU KQi2 Pro electric scooter. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and if you would like to see future scooter reviews and other electric scooter videos, please subscribe to my channel, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.